Are you feeling a bit off at the moment? Not really sure why? And you're not the only one. You're seeing it in the workplace and family. It's just something not quite sitting right at the moment with people. I'm going to explain to you why that's happening and also what you can do to alleviate that. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport, as I see it, is to see your vision become a reality. Find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. Remember that experience you had when you walked into a room and something was off? The mood of the room was almost icy or just uncomfortable, and you knew you'd walked in after something's just gone down, right? There's a feeling in the air. We've all experienced this. You might have also experienced that time when you've walked into a room and it was like the vibe was good and the energy was good and it felt like a good place to be, homely maybe, inviting, comfortable, whatever it is. We've all had these experiences, but what I want to explain today is like how that happens on a broader scale, but also how you can not be infected by that. So you only have to spend time in any sort of toxic environment to know how much that rubs off on you. Might be going into work when things aren't quite going well, and how that can impact your own mood, how it can impact how you're feeling, how it can impact your health, so many different levels to it. So when we are together, we are connected. There's an unconscious connection between us. We feel what's going on for other people. We can get a read on different situations where we can go, I can tell something's not quite right with that person. And it's more than just body language and what they're saying. Like we actually, we're all we're a sea of whizzing electrons around in these atoms inside us. So it's not surprising, right? I'm not the sort of person that goes into depth in the science of it, but if you want to look up someone like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's got a number of books talking about how all that works. But I want to talk from that place of your own experience. And at the moment, there's a lot of this going around. Everyone I'm talking to at the moment, they're saying, not feeling the best, or they're saying, workplace is a bit off at the moment. Things aren't quite feeling fantastic. And can you imagine, right, when you're going into all these different environments and people are stressed, and it's the start of the year, right? People have been on their sprint from sort of school term start is usually the marker in Australia around that start of Feb. Everyone sort of races to catch up on all the things they haven't been doing and get their life in order and all these different things. So we're kind of at the end of that sprint. We're also heading towards the end of school term, where generally there's a weariness around. In New South Wales, this definitely has an impact. Daylight saving, so we're often waking up and it's dark, which goes against the natural rhythms of what the body's meant to do. Like we're wired to get up with the sun, stay asleep while it's dark, and also to then go to sleep, or at least have things quieten down once the sun goes down. So all of these different things are causing an impact. But add to that the bigger picture of what I see is that I've never seen more people who are wanting more meaning from their life, who are wanting more fulfillment, they're wanting more purpose, they're trying to get their fitness and health sorted. There's a whole lot of people just fed up with the state of things, like with world politics, stuff in their own backyard. Like people are just fed up. So you got a group of people trying to change and get themselves better. You got another group of people that are sort of stuck in, just this state of just being fed up with all this garbage that's going on and frustration. And if we come back to, going into rooms where you can feel the energy, and at times where you might have gone into different environments and taken some of that on with you, then you'd know what I'm talking about. But you'd also think about that from a bigger picture, just like the magnitude of this shitty energy that's going on at the moment. Also, like, people are just looking for something new. Like, how many people are creating a side hustle, or they're not 100% comfortable in their career? Like, I speak to a lot of my mates, in that bracket, late 40s, early 50s, and they're happy enough, but it's not what they want to do. They're still talking like I remember talking about 15 years ago, going, I'll let you know what I want to be when I grow up. And they're sort of in that state too. There's this general disillusionment with things. This doesn't mean like they're having life's awful, but it's just this underlying sense of things could be better, could be much better. So collectively, we've got this mood, and of course it's going to have an impact on you. So what do we do about it? Well, the first thing to know is that all of these things I talked about, in that bigger picture view, is it all requires people to get out of their comfort zone. And what happens when you get out of your comfort zone? It's uncomfortable, and it can, initially at least, feel like you're taking steps backwards, because it's not comfortable, obviously, but it's not. You're having to break free from habits, from patterns that you've been running for a long time, and sometimes that can come with a payoff that's not particularly pleasant, because sometimes you just got to push through the sludge. You got to get through the crap to come out the other side. And so add that to the mix. It's like you've got a choice now. So what can you do? Well, the worst thing you can do is decide, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm just going to go back to my comfort zone. Because in that comfort zone, it's comfortable, but it's boring. It's lacking fulfillment. It's same old, Groundhog Day. The good news is that when you shift your thought process to embracing the discomfort, embracing the possibilities, because whenever you go through a challenging time, you're moving out of your comfort zone, you're always on an up level. So you're going to have something better out the other side. So it's reminding yourself of that, but it's also being very intentional about not taking on other people's energy, and intentional about the energy that you're going to bring into different situations. Because like I said, the good news is that you can change the energy in different places. Best example, I watched my daughter when she was quite young, maybe 5. We go to the grocery store. The lady behind the cash register is looking tired, stressed, not particularly happy. And my daughter, she might have been a bit older than 5, because she read the woman's name tag, and she called her by name, and she said, "Hi, Mary," or whatever the name was. "Hi, Mary. How are you today?" with a big smile on her face. Now, what do you reckon that does to someone who's not in a good mood? They can't help but change their mood. And then I watched as that same lady then, with a smile on her face, took a completely different energy into the next conversation with the people that were in the queue after us. And that's the potential ripple effect that you can have, that now every person that those 2 people come across in the next period of time, they're going to be passing on more of that happiness, more of that fun vibe. And it takes a child sometimes to change the mood of a place. So if we come with that childlike enthusiasm, curiosity of what's unconditional, right? It's just, they're joyful. They're just calling it as it is. That's the intention we want to bring into different situations. And the other thing is, you want to be intentional about not taking on other people's stuff. So that might require initially for you to limit your time in some of those spaces that aren't helpful. But you also know that there are some places that you can't avoid, particularly some of the things I've mentioned at the start, which is like work situation, family situation, maybe sporting teams, whatever it is. But you can actively shift the vibe of some of these places. Now, some people don't want to be shifted, and they're not the place to start. But you can look for the other people that are going to warm to your enthusiasm, to that positivity. And one person does it, another person does it, and it becomes infectious. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's at a music festival, and there's one guy gets up and starts dancing a bit crazy, and everyone else is just standing watching. And it talks about the psychology of a group. And then eventually a second person gets up, and the second person's important because they give permission for other people to get up. And then suddenly a couple of them go, oh, come on, let's go join in. And then suddenly there's a group of 4 come and join in. And suddenly, like, this whole area is all up and dancing because they saw these people, the leader who got up first, the other people who made it safe, who, like, social proof, I guess, jump up. And then suddenly this whole place, everyone's dancing together, having a great time. This is your possibility as the leader, maybe whether you're the first person who starts it or whether you just latch on to someone else who's already infectious, who's already having that positive, or not infectious of negativity, but that positive infectious vibe. You find them out, jump on board, generate more, and other people just want to be involved. I use the example when I'm coaching football, or if I've been teaching, or anything where you're working with young people. I remember one time doing a PE class at a school that had some challenging kids, shall we say, and it was PE because that's where I'm trained, and that is certainly well, it has its benefits because in some sense you're going to get more engagement from some kids, but outdoors sometimes harder to control. So that's a whole other story. But I had a few kids in there in particular that were, that they had a reputation, shall we say. And what I find with most kids, and actually most adults, is that you create a fun and positive environment. They want to be involved. So a few of them like, yeah, we're not going to play. We're going to do our own thing. I'm like, okay, well, here's a footy. You go kick it over there, and we'll have a game here. And they soon see that, like, I'm praising the other kids. We're having fun. We're the other kids are having fun because they're feeling good, because they're getting this praise, and I'm just positivity as much as possible. And suddenly what happens is these kids want to be involved, and there's certain boundaries. Okay, you can be involved, but here are some of the parameters, and that's fine, because as soon as they start hearing the praise as well, they're like, yeah, I want to be on board with that as well. And you can shift an energy of a place like that through that same lens. Like, how can I bring more positivity? Because I remember doing a coach the coaches session, and I was talking about the impact of how you present yourself, and when people started giving answers, I was really praising them, and more people started putting their hand up, and I let that go for a while, and then I said, can you see what I just did then? Can you see, like, everyone loves to hear positivity about something they've said, something they've shared, they've opened themselves up, and they've got positive validation from that, and suddenly everyone's getting in on it and sharing. That's the power that you have to change any situation. So why are you feeling off at the moment? Well, you might be going through a stressful time. You might be going through a challenging time, but look at it as it's a chance to level up. Look at it as a chance for you to go, okay, well, I'm not going to be drawn into other people's energy. As soon as I can get myself out the other side of this, then I'm going to make sure I become that infectious, positive person to shift the energy of the room I'm in. And then what limit to the size of the room, right? You would have seen those people that could shift the energy of a massive crowd. Why? Because they make people feel good. So musicians, right? Maybe an easier job, but it's the same principle. They're bringing something that people like, bringing positivity, they're bringing connection. How can you bring more of that to a situation in your own life, and then out there in all the different communities and environments and situations that you frequent? Because that's how you're going to change the current vibe for yourself, and most importantly, for of course, for your self most importantly, but like any of us who have family, we want to be able to have that positive impact, because that creates an even better feeling for ourselves. So those important people, your family, and then thinking about how else can I have that sort of positive impact flow through from the intention that I've brought to any of these situations? Try this out. Let me know how you go, even if it's as simple as the person you come across in the shopping center, on the road, letting someone in on traffic, whatever it is. And yeah, let me know how you go and what you see is the impact of bringing that positivity. It doesn't mean that you're going to avoid negativity, because it's just out there. You get a choice on how you respond to that, and whether you are drawn back into that or whether you choose a different approach. You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.